Hello, Xylophoney here, and welcome to How to Pixelmon, your instructional Pixelmon guide. Now, as you've seen today, we are going to be going over Houndour and Houndoom. I got them in the party here. Right here we got the regular Houndour, and the shiny one over there takes a bit of a bluish tint instead of black. Very cool dark type Pokemon, dark and fire that is. Let's take a look at the Houndooms themselves. With a name like Houndoom, they gotta be awesome. And just look at that animation. They have the coolest run. It's just so majestic. When I first saw these, it was on Pixelmon Island, and it was just amazing. So I think these guys definitely look really cool. And the shiny's pretty cool as well. It's a nice blue one. I kind of like the traditional look of it better. It's just, you know, so much more killer. But the shiny look definitely looks good. Let's see if I can get these guys to follow me. Fine, just teleport in. I guess we'll start going over what these guys are all about. So, Houndoom is, of course, a dark and fire type, and it is definitely a special attacker. It has a very strong special attack and a good speed. Now, this pretty much by default means you're going to want to make it a special attack sweeper. But he also has a good amount of physical attack. Now, as I've said about most fire types, they kind of got that weakness of having both good physical and special attack. So Houndour and Houndoom kind of fall to this weakness, but not completely, because they also have reasonable defense and special defense, decent even, at 90 and 75 health as its base stats. So these guys can definitely take a hit if you want them to, as well as being good special attack sweepers. So when it comes down to making them, you can keep that in mind, or you can just go all out sweeper. But let's talk about the natures first. Of course, special attack sweeper, pretty standard. We're going to want to have a modest or a timid nature. Modest for the special attack or timid for the speed, taking away from the physical attack. Most builds I would set up with these guys aren't going to have any physical attacks, so I don't think you need to worry about that at all. But of course, any nature that is special or special or speed will do just fine and make it a pretty good Pokemon. Of course, the IVs that you would want to look for are special attack speed as well, maybe some health and a couple other things as well down the line. Well, you know, all the usual, but you shouldn't really have to worry too much about attack, because most setups really won't be using any physical attacks. Now, it actually does learn more physical attacks than special attacks, but it learns enough special attacks to make it worthwhile, you know, going all out special attack on it. So let's take a look at some of the moves it can get. Taking a look right here, it learns Flamethrower by itself and Inferno, and that's pretty much the best special attacks it can learn. So that's two fire ones. It's not a whole lot, but it also learns the move called Nasty Plot, which makes it so the Pokemon can increase its own special attack by 2 stages, which is very good. And also a move I would personally like on a Houndoom, Foul Play. Now, Foul Play is interesting because it'll give you good coverage. It's a physical attack, but it uses your enemy's attack power to generate the damage. So if you're going up against a physical attack sweeper that's weak to physical attacks, then this is a perfect time to use Foul Play, and it'll do a lot of damage using his physical attack and not your own. And if you're going up against something that's weak to special attacks, go ahead, give it a nice little Flamethrower. Some of the other moves it can have on it are, let's see, I looked at that one first. And pretty much just crunch by all the physical attacks, of course. What it's really going to come down to with these guys is giving them some TMs. Now, I think you can pretty much say the normal way to build one would be to give it special attacks. And when it comes down to that, you might want a Solar Beam on it so it can counter water types. Although I wouldn't really suggest using Solar Beam at all unless you have a Pokemon setting up Sunny Day. It's not very good. But Shadow Ball, I could definitely suggest on him. So we can go ahead and put Shadow Ball in, replace it for Bite. And in most circumstances, I would probably want to replace the Nasty Plot as well, because he may be a little tanky, but is not nearly tanky enough to survive multiple attacks. So we can replace Nasty Plot with Sludge Bomb, which is a strong poison move. That'll give him type coverage with 4 separate attacks. So that'll be very good if you want to set him up with some good damage. You could give him, of course, a Charcoal or Black Glasses to give him that extra stab. Well, extra damage added onto a stab, Life Orb so we can do some additional damage, Razor Claw, or really any of the good physical attacker items, special attack items. So those will be very good to deal damage, but the other way of setting one up will actually include him utilizing some tankiness. So we'll use this one as an example. We would want to give him Leftovers and then Will-O-Wisp. Now, this setup will probably only work against physical attackers, because Will-O-Wisp not only sets the Pokemon on fire, but when they're burning, they do half of their normal physical attack damage, therefore making Houndoom quite possibly tank 3, maybe even 4 hits. So an easy call to replace Inferno with that. That'll leave us with Foul Play and Flamethrower. Now we want Will-O-Wisp and Nasty Plot, but you can also go even further and get moves such as Substitute and use that on your Houndoom. And in this example, we'll replace Foul Play. So there you have a relatively tanky, trolly Houndoom. This one in particular is going to want to use Will-O-Wisp at the beginning, mostly targeting physical attackers, so that'll lower that. Then you can set up a Substitute, so you can sit behind that Substitute using Nasty Plot as much as you want. Make sure to train this guy in speed, and then when it comes to special attack, you can train that good, train a little bit of health too. You know, be half and half with it if you would like. But its Flamethrower is going to do the most damage that you can do. And after 3 Nasty Plots, it'll be doing a lot of damage coming from a Houndoom. So you could either do the first setup or the second setup. Personally, I'd probably go for the first setup. It's just a lot easier without a lot more risk. But you can always get a little tricky on your opponents and go for that Nasty Plot Houndoom and have a real good time. But I hope you guys have decided you would like to use this one, or if you were going to use it anyway, hopefully this is giving you a setup that you can easily live with. I think they definitely are some of the coolest looking Pokemon in the new updates, mainly just because of their smooth animations and all that. It's very awesome. But that's all I have to say about these two. If you would like me to go over another one of your favorite Pokemon, make sure to leave it down in the comments below, and I will see you next time on How to Pixelmon. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.